thank you we'll start this way, thank you for agreeing to speak.
Thank you for asking me.
Thank you for about to sharing everything. Can you just do a bit of an introduction about yourself? So a friend of ours that mutually got us together so we could share your story, get a bit of insight.
Yeah, from that point of view, it's not something I've ever thought anyone would really be interested in. Mm-hmm. Anyone would have any wish to know what a nearly 60-year-old person like me would have to say. Mm-hmm. But I suppose, yeah, I do have a little bit of a different take on things because of the way I've gone through life. Up until the time of my accident, I was just going through life like everyone else. Mm-hmm. You know, getting up, going to work, going out, having fun with friends, enjoying life. And then one morning I had a bike accident and lost a great chunk of my leg.
How long ago was your accident?
It was in 2010, so it's coming up to 14 years. So it was actually terrible, isn't it? I can't remember the actual date. Isn't that weird?
Summer?
Yeah, it was May. I know it was May time.
Okay.
And I can't. I think it was the 9th. Might have been the 19th. That sort of phased me slightly now.
There's something in your knowledge that's really significant, but for you to not have the specific date of it. I mean, you moved from time, right? So 14 years ago, you had the accident. Can you just go through briefly like what happened in the accident?
Yeah, I was riding off to a workshop. What was it? It was about 5:45 in the morning. There I am going down the road. It's actually at the back end of North Weald Airfield, and the road comes down in a beautiful sweeping bend, and there's a roundabout at the bottom of the hill, and then the road goes up again. Well, I've been going through there years. As I've come down to the roundabout on a bike, you know, looked behind me, checked my mirrors, looked behind me again, looked up and I couldn't see the roundabout. And I suppose a bit of disorientation set in, because where's that roundabout gone? It was just mist in front of me. And started braking, slowing down. The road had been resurfaced about 6 months before, so there was still areas of chippings, like in the little triangle. And I've just got onto that, the bike squirmed a bit. Next thing I know, I'm flying through the air, collided with a road sign, and I'm laying on the floor going, okay, bite me tongue, I'm alive, great. I can move my fingers, I can move my head, move my arms, I can move my left leg, can't move my right leg. Got up on my elbows, because I was laying on my back, got up on my elbows to get my phone, thinking I've probably hurt myself quite badly because I can't move my leg even. You know, it's not responding to anything. Gone to pocket here to get my phone.
Yeah.
and my foot was there. My foot's not supposed to be there. Sudden realisation, you know. And yeah, the whole world goes wobbly then, doesn't it? I've started to make like phone for an ambulance, and cars pulled up behind. Stay there, don't move. I've got an ambulance called for you. And sheer luck, coming the opposite direction was a squaddy medic transporting an army ambulance, and he's parked up, come running over. Brilliant at that, don't move. Well, when you've got 17 stone of squaddy sitting on your chest, you don't move. And then I got carted off to the hospital.
Being on the floor after an accident, presuming something is meant to be there and not, and then find yourself in a glimpse of a moment where you're just lying down and then your leg is, or your foot is in your face, and normally you can't stretch like that in the morning, evening, or any part of your day, right?
Yeah.
Were you in a lot of pain, just pure shock? How was that situation, just even you processing? Can you remember it vividly, or is it just a complete blur to you?
No, it's quite lucid. It is quite lucid. I mean, I can remember that. Yes, it hurt. I don't know whether it's the worst pain I've ever experienced. Quite probably. Never lost a limb before, so I've got nothing to compare it to. But yes, it hurt like hell, especially when the ambulance crew are shifting me about. I mean, the gas and air that they gave me, yeah, that worked as a
semi sort of relief, but I'm presuming that it's past a threshold of pain that normal people to associate with, because you try to associate any sort of pain to understand what someone goes through, right?
Yes.
It's on another level of acceptance and thinking.
Yeah, it is. I mean, since the accident, I do suffer sometimes with phantom pains.
Is that a consequence? Did they say that this
is
something that naturally does?
It's one of those things that everybody who's had an amputation will experience the phantom sensation of, you know, I don't have a finger there, but it feels like I've got a finger there and I can do that with it.
Wow. So it's sometimes a sense that you have the whole, because it's something for 40 years, 45 years, you had a leg, so you're very familiar with it. For all the stuff that you now, since 13 years, and we'll talk about it, you have a business, you've done things, for all the history that you have in the context, how did that serve you in that moment, and then what did you have to go through to get into a point where it was, I'm presuming, healthy thinking as well, because you have to go through stages where all of this is happening, it's fresh, it's not part of your agenda, or you have to deal with loss of the limb, the rehabilitation, the whole thing.
I suppose a lot of it is just the simple case of, well, I'm still alive, so obviously I'm meant to be alive. Not that I believe in the great pink pixie in the sky or whatever, you know. I'm not a religious person, but yeah, because I'm still here, I've now got to deal with however much
You have.
I've lost.
Yes.
You know, so it's like, right, how do I get on with it?
You mentioned to me previous to us sitting here that you lived in a mobile home, and then you had to really make massive changes to your lifestyle.
Well, yes.
How did you approach that, and what did you really need to get within yourself to be able to approach it?
It's a case of, for me anyway, if I think too much about it, I'm going to start worrying about it rather than getting on with it. You know, I've got to be able to have a bed to sleep in that I can get to. I've got to have a bathroom. I've got to have a kitchen that I can use. And I've tried to be as, I hate the term, normal as possible. You know, yes, learning to walk again while still trying to assimilate the fact that I'm now living in a little bungalow instead of mobile home in farmland, where I get up in the morning, I walk out, and there's a huge field over there, and there's alpacas in that field, and I go and say hello to the alpacas first thing in the morning, you know. And there's a water butt, you know, it's rainwater.
Mm-hmm.
Splash your face with rainwater in the morning, all things like that. Yeah, I can't do that. Getting up in the morning when you go camping. Something I used to love was walking barefoot in cold, wet grass. It's a terrific feeling. But I can only do it with one foot now. But I can still do it with one foot.
Mm-hmm.
You know. The actual physical process of it it's quite arduous. It's very tiring.
It's a battle. I'm from the understanding of what you're saying, as you're going through that process, and you said it was arduous. How much of a battle was that for you to gear up to be in that mindset? Where you understood you were in that more control, go, okay, I can change this, I don't want to think like this, I want to be learning and surrendering to the experience more, because as you say, it's happened.
Yeah, I think it was just simply, well, there's no use crying over something that's gone, you know, so alright, bye-bye leg.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there was a bit of a grieving process and all that with it as well. There was never any denial, because I wake up every morning and look down and there's my left leg and my right leg stops up here. Yeah, but when I've got my prosthetic on and I'm walking around, I don't think about it, and I don't know whether that's the right way, whether it's the wrong way. I think everybody will have their own individual coping mechanism. I've seen it when I've been at the limb centre, you know, getting repairs done, or I've got a problem with the prosthetic. Some people almost seem angry about it. You know, some people's are also, oh, woe is me, oh dear, oh dear. Well, both of those things are not going to help you, or at least from my point of view, wouldn't help me get on. One of the first things I want, you know, I sort of decided was I'm still going to ride a bike. Of my different abilities with having a prosthetic leg is that I can swing my leg and get on this bike. So, because it's only me that ever rides it, single seat. Yeah, so all of that is completely different, built by me, put together by me. The exhaust has been shortened, but the main thing is the rear brake. Normally the rear brake would be on a pedal here, so you'd operate it with your right foot. So I have to move it somewhere else. That's my back brake, and it's great. I love it. It's a risk. Anyone who rides a motorbike says they don't think about the risk is a liar. Yeah, every time you put yourself onto one of those machines, you are taking.
It's dangerous.
Yeah, it is dangerous.
But no dangerous as any other thing sometimes that may happen.
Yeah, you know, there's people go bungee jumping.
Yeah.
There's people go skydiving. You know, why would you ever want to jump out of a perfectly good aeroplane? You know, you're flying. Great.
Yeah.
Now I've jumped out of it. What a stupid thing to do. Never understood that. But yeah, I suppose, yeah, there is a bit of a daredevil thing. Oh, look at me, I'm right. But you get that from kids, you know, on their push bike.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You know, there is the thrill of it. So yeah, I didn't want to lose that. That thrill. I suppose it's the nearest thing to flying on the ground.
Yeah, that's a really nice way to put it, so that you get a sense of feeling.
Yeah, with a car you sit in it and it surrounds you. With a bike you sit on it and you're pretty much hugging it, you're cuddling it, and
the experience goes through you in a way, because you feel the ground, you feel the air, you feel all the elements.
That's it.
It's like your alertness is truly there when you are driving.
Yes.
A lot more.
Yeah, and you even though you've got a helmet on, you know, you actually do see more.
Mm-hmm.
You see more of your surroundings, because, you know, okay, there's something there, but I can still look down, you know, and see whatever's there, whereas in the car, part of your vision is blocked by the door. It's blocked by the door posts and window frames and all this sort of thing.
Speaking to you for a short space of time, like learning a bit more about you and the things that you've had to experience, it strikes me is that you don't really have just the normal outlook that people encounter on a daily basis, which is, I'll look at my phone, I'll do this. It's more so that when I speak to you, I have this sense that you have a lot more depth in your approach to life. Where did that come from for you to have the way of the perspective when you've had such a incident as this, that it is what it is? I can't cry about it even if I want to. I can go through all of this, and I am going through this, but ultimately I still want to ride my bike. What within your upbringing did you notice that that's relevant to how you have that perspective, or is it just something that you had to cultivate yourself?
That's a really good question, because I can't answer it. I honestly, my upbringing was perfectly normal. You know, mum and dad at home, go to school, go play in the street with my mates, go ride our push bikes, go fishing, all the things that kids normally did when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there was nothing that I can think of at all. It was all pretty much, average.
Well, I will say it's really inspiring, because you said that when you were going through to, is it a hospital where you check your limbs and everything, and you have different people from aspects of life, accidents where they might have lost a leg, arm, or however way they, amputee happened, that you can see the difference between your perspective of how you're looking at things versus someone who's just more angry with where they are right now. And it strikes me that you didn't really, you may have had to deal with some of that, but it was only a phase, a stage, ultimately.
Yeah, there was maybe I thought about those things, and then really very quickly decided or discovered that thinking like that isn't going to really help me learn to walk, really help me remain fit, because having one of these is quite hard work. One of the physios actually said that every joint you lose doubles the amount of effort needed to remain mobile, which I'm not so sure it actually doubles the amount, but yes, it is physically harder. I mean, the one strange thing I've never managed to get my head round is the prosthetic is lighter than the real me. It doesn't weigh as much as the real me, but it still feels heavy. I can still feel the weight sort of swinging
when you
there.
had your original leg, it didn't feel heavy.
Yeah, you don't notice
the weight of your own foot, or your shin, or your ankle, knee.
Yeah. You don't notice the weight of your own hands, do you?
No.
You know, your hands are on the end of your arms, and
it's an association by birth, really, as well, because for now that you have something that is part of you but not original, if we go here, it's where your consciousness or your awareness really has to be adaptive to it a lot more, right?
Yes. I mean, I mentioned the phantom pain. I've got almost constant pins and needles in my foot and shin that's not there.
Really?
Yeah.
So, to understand this, you feel sometimes sensing-wise that you have pins and needles in your knee and foot, but you also know that they're not present with you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very low level, and over the years, over the time it's been that way. I suppose I've trained myself to pretty much ignore it. Yes, it catches me out sometimes. I might be sitting out in the sun. For some reason, my foot, or my phantom foot, goes, put another sock on, it's bloody cold. Or it might feel like it's swelling, or You know, and these ones, they're just little odd things. Then you get the horrific stabbing and crushing pains and all this sort of thing, and you go, yeah, I don't want that. But, yeah.
So you've had to transcend a lot of story, pain, experience, continual things as well. As all these years and everything that's happened, you've built a business, you've like really managed to focus, aside from getting yourself moving and walking, which is quite difficult in itself. And I think a lot of people, unless they understand the story, is how much you have to do to get back there. Can you just delve into what inspired you to start your own business, working with motorbikes? Please?
Before I had bikes, I've always worked on my own bikes, modified bikes. I've done bits for other people. And I suppose it's partly one of the biggest problems I personally have with the prosthetic is reliability. I can't get up in the morning and, like you would, just put on a sock, put on a shoe, and you know it's going to fit because it only goes on one way. Unfortunately, this there's no sort of index mark to put it onto, and you don't always get it right, and other times it moves, it slips slightly, or you swell slightly and it doesn't fit properly, and that can alter your whole day. I've had and I do still occasionally get days where I just can't use the prosthetic limb. But those days don't ring up in advance and say, oh, by the way, on Thursday, don't plan anything because I'm not going to work for you.
Mm-hmm.
And it might be like it for an hour, it might be like it for 2 hours, it might be like it for the whole day. That's the most frustrating thing. And I suppose the fact of being able to work for myself, if I've got a bad day, I don't have to explain it to the boss. I don't have to explain why I'm moving a lot slower today, or yesterday I was really barely able to walk properly. Today I'm nearly up for running a marathon. How can I be a reliable employee when that is my day-to-day situation? And I've got to do something. And if I want to have a couple of pints of Guinness, I've got to
have some income.
To go and have a couple of pints of Guinness. If I want to put petrol in my bike, I've got to have some sort of income. You know, being part of this club is it's an expense like any club. You've got to put in to get out. You know.
Mm-hmm. And how long have you had the business for?
About 3.5 years, I think.
3.5 years. And as a business,
yeah, about 3.5 years.
My understanding is that you take bikes that are normal bikes, and then you adapt them for it. Could you explain a bit more about like what you do with the bikes, or what have you done as well?
Well, to start with, sort of the basic bread and butter stuff is servicing and repairs. I also do custom work, from the simplest things of somebody wanting different indicator lights on their, or a different headlight on their bike.
Mhm.
If they haven't got the skill set or the time to do it, that's where I come in. I'll do that. Adaptations for disabled people. I don't get it very often, but over the years I've done adaptations for people. There's one guy, he couldn't use a twist grip throttle, so he wanted a foot throttle. Well, okay, I'll make you one. I found some components, measured him up. Where's your foot? That's where your foot is. That's how much movement you got. You need a pedal. Let's make you a pedal.
Mhm.
What other ones have I done? I've done brake adaptations. My own bike, I've had to adapt because my foot on the right hand side, which would normally be the rear brake, it doesn't move on its own. I can't move it. You know, I can't press a brake pedal. So I've got to use what I've got. One thing I've got is a thumb. So I use my left thumb. It's been done before. Believe it was Casey Stoner in the superbikes. He injured his ankle and still wanted to race but couldn't, and he got in contact with his engineers and they said, well, yeah, we can adapt for use on your thumb. So yeah, I wish I didn't lose my leg to find out how much fun it is having a thumb break.
It's really inspiring, and it's for people who even look at this to understand that faced with such a disability and life-changing circumstances, if you still hold a dream where you still want something, that you can go through all of that challenge, and essentially, as we can showcase it, you ride your bike and you enjoy it, and to other people who don't even know that that's a possibility for themselves as well, right?
Yeah.
Because depending on all the access of information on the internet, unless you understand how to search, you might not know that just because you have a disability, even to the point of not having a limb or however your situation has turned out for you, you can still also have a hobby as riding a bike, and that can be done for you, with assistance. So I'm hoping that, especially with this, that your story like this, it inspires people.
Well, that would be a nice, warm, fuzzy feeling. I do it because I can. I do it because I want to. Mm-hmm. And I think maybe that's not what the government would like everybody to be like in this country, because obviously the government needs everybody to work, to pay their taxes and keep them in the lifestyle they've made themselves accustomed to. Shouldn't get political. But it works for me. It works for me. You're a lot more wonderful than you think. You're a lot better than you think you are. No, don't ever doubt that you can do something, because if you doubt you can do something, are you going to try it? Don't be afraid of failure. Yeah, I suppose really that's what you should do in life. Push yourself. If you fall over, what's the worst that's going to happen? You hit the ground. You're not going to break it. Get up and start again. Get up and continue. Okay, maybe you fell over because your shoelace was undone. Don't leave home with your shoelaces undone. You know, learn from it.
Yeah.
You just get on with it. Just get on with it.